Imagine Earth as a hard drive that's been reformatted 5 separate times. Each click of delete didn't just erase a few files, it wiped out more than 80% of all life. And the wildest part, these weren't some far-fetched science fiction scenarios. They were brutal realities shaped by geology, massive volcanism, and the occasional city-sized rock falling from space. We're talking about events that utterly reshaped our planet's biosphere, not just once, but repeatedly, changing the very course of evolution. Stick around, because we're cracking open each of those ancient case files to see how our world kept rebooting itself long before humans ever showed up. So, let's do a quick roll call. Around 444 million years ago, the end Ordovician event froze the planet under mile-thick ice sheets. Then, 360 million years ago, the late Devonian extinction choked the oceans with oxygen-starved water. Fast forward to 250 million years ago, and the end Permian cooked everything with volcanic smog in what's famously known as the Great Dying. Just 200 million years ago, the end Triassic tore apart the supercontinent and drastically altered the climate. Finally, 65 million years ago, the end Cretaceous delivered that infamous asteroid finale that slammed the door shut on the dinosaur chapter. 5 colossal catastrophes, 5 complete rewrites of life on Earth. Imagine this. Most life back then was chilling near the equator in warm, shallow seas. But when the continent that would eventually become the Appalachians started bulldozing carbon dioxide absorbing rocks skyward, things changed dramatically. This massive weathering process pulled so much CO2 out of the atmosphere that global temperatures plummeted and sea levels drained away like a leaky bathtub. This shift to an icehouse world triggered widespread glaciation. 86% of species, think trilobites, brachiopods, and those early reef builders, simply vanished. Recovery wasn't quick. It took a few million years. But as the ice retreated, the hardy survivors diversified into brand new niches, perfectly setting the stage for the very first land plants to emerge. Here's where things get interesting. Plants had just figured out how to grow roots. These roots weren't just anchoring them, they were breaking down rock, pulling even more CO2 out of the air, and dumping a massive influx of nutrients into coastal waters. This led to enormous algal blooms. When these blooms died and decayed, they sucked nearly all oxygen from the oceans, creating widespread anoxia. Armored fish gasped, reef ecosystems collapsed, and 3/4 of all species disappeared. Ironically, on land, this oxygen drop actually helped vertebrates experiment with lungs, nudging some fish toward developing the limbs that would later build incredible forests, vast swamps, and, eventually, the coal we burn today. This one was truly terrifying. Siberia literally cracked open and oozed lava for a solid million years, belching out massive amounts of carbon dioxide, sulfur, and methane. Global temperatures spiked by at least 10 degrees Celsius, oceans turned acidic, and vast stretches of oxygen-starved waters crept onto continental shelves. The result? A staggering 96% extinction rate, Earth's closest brush with becoming a completely sterile planet. This was the Great Dying. Recovery from this apocalyptic event dragged on for roughly 50 million years, a testament to its severity. But that immense emptiness handed the Triassic world to early archosaurs. the tenacious lineage that would eventually yield both the mighty dinosaurs and, indirectly, all modern birds. As the supercontinent Pangaea began to split apart, the Central Atlantic Magmatic Province, or CAMP, erupted with furious intensity. This was a series of massive volcanic pulses, pumping out even more greenhouse gases. The planet swung between periods of humid, scorching heat and devastating acid rain. Coral reefs once again buckled and collapsed under the stress. Roughly 80% of species vanished, essentially clearing out ecological real estate. This sudden vacuum provided an incredible opportunity. Dinosaurs, which had been relatively minor players up to that point, suddenly spread globally and ballooned into the giants we marvel at in museums today. Then came the grand finale, or so it seemed. A 10-kilometer asteroid slammed into the Yucatan Peninsula at 45,000 miles per hour, vaporizing rock and launching trillions of tons of dust into the stratosphere. The impact triggered a global winter. Photosynthesis shut down for months, plunging the planet into darkness. Wildfires ignited across continents, and acid rain poured from the skies. Non-avian dinosaurs, majestic pterosaurs, and the ammonites that filled ancient seas all vanished quickly. But life, ever resilient, found a way. Mammals, mostly nocturnal, omnivorous, and tiny creatures, managed to weather those dark years and inherited the daylight once the skies finally cleared. So, what can we learn from this carnage? 4 of these 5 colossal events tie back directly to massive volcanism. Only one, the most recent, was primarily caused by an asteroid. But here's the kicker. All of them involved rapid, drastic swings in CO2 or SO2 levels, leading to widespread ocean chemistry havoc, including acidification and oxygen depletion. As for the survivors, they typically shared 2 crucial traits: wide geographic ranges and flexible diets. Think of them as the ultimate ecological Swiss Army knives. These generalists could adapt to changing conditions and find food wherever they were. After each crash, evolution typically took about 10 million years to regain anything close to pre-crash diversity, a sobering speed limit for our own incredibly fast-changing world. Now, why should we care about events that happened millions of years ago? Because humans are currently pushing CO2 levels and global temperatures upward faster than most of those ancient flood basalt episodes. Ocean acidification is climbing rapidly, wildlife ranges are shrinking, and extinction rates already exceed background levels by orders of magnitude. Studying the Big Five isn't just paleontology fan fiction. It's a rehearsal script for possible futures. And the good news is, we still have time to edit the ending. Earth has weathered apocalypses that scrubbed entire forests, vibrant coral reefs, and vast sections of the skies clean. Each of these planetary reboots took millions of years, but life always returned, just never quite in the same form. The lesson: planets are incredibly tough. Individual species, however, including our own, are surprisingly fragile. The next reset is not predestined, yet if we choose to ignore the geological playbook laid out before us, we risk starring in our very own irreversible chapter. Thanks for watching. Stay curious, and I'll see you in the next Deep Time Dive.